Good morning. So today I am just going to show you what I eat today, and I'm going to start with my oatmeal and this blueberry smoothie that I've been making all week. And I also need to have my coffee still, so I will show you how I make that. And I'm also going to use this time while I'm waiting for my coffee just to drink a bunch of water because I feel very dehydrated this morning. Okay, so I just have my coffee here and I'm going to make the breakfast that I've been making all week. Sorry, I have to get Charlotte. Coming inside. Okay, so I'm gonna start with showing you how I make the oats. So I've just been using the quick oats again, and I just do about 1 cup or a little less than a cup. And I just put that in a bowl. And then I add a little bit of this Ceylon cinnamon. And I just eyeball it. I love cinnamon. And then I do about 1 heaping tablespoon of flaxseed because I like the way that it thickens up the oatmeal. I like to not add too much water, and lately I switch it up. Sometimes I like to make my oats really watery or creamy, but this week I've been really enjoying it, kind of making it like cake again. So I just add as little water as I can, and then at the end I top it with a little bit of soy milk once it's cooked. So you can see it's pretty thick, and now I'm just gonna cook it in the microwave for 2 minutes. And for the smoothie, I also keep it really simple and just take one of these cups and I add a huge helping. Actually, I'm gonna add the berries first. So I just do some frozen blueberries specifically. I'll tell you why after. It's about 8 ounces, I guess. And then I just do some hemp seeds. I'm not weighing and measuring, I'm just kind of eyeballing it. And then I take a huge helping of greens. I might even do more than that. Just mush it down there. I'm gonna do more. And this is just spinach. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of soy milk. So I do some soy milk just for a serving of legumes. And then I do some water just to thin it out a little bit. So my smoothie is done. So yeah, I just put it in a glass like this. I don't make very much, just enough really. And there we have it. And then the oatmeal has been cooked for 2 minutes in the microwave. So you can see it's really thick. To me, this is like cake. I look forward to having oatmeal so much. And then I try to get all my nuts and seeds in the morning. I don't really snack on nuts or seeds. I really only use them as ingredients. So I'm not gonna be eating like handfuls of pumpkin seeds later on in the day, but I do want to eat them because they are very healthy for you, and I like eating them alongside greens. So I will add a little bit of raisins. And then these are just organic pumpkin seeds. Just do a little bit. So it looks like this. And then just add a little bit of soy milk. So I just wanted to share a little bit about an experiment that I've been doing for myself over the last week and 2 days, and I'm going to continue this experiment because it's very easy to do, and I'm going to share a little bit about what I've been doing. But as you may have noticed this morning, I made that smoothie, and essentially the smoothie was just a vessel for me to pack in a bunch of spinach because I am trying to increase my thylakoids. And thylakoids are the compound that's, it's a chlorophyll-filled compound that's inside leafy greens. The darker the greens, such as like kale and spinach, the higher content of thylakoids are in those greens. So I've been trying to increase eating those because those thylakoids are a way that we can naturally increase the hormone in our body called GLP-1. And if you know anything about weight loss drugs, like Ozempic, for example, basically they're hormone that increases your GLP-1 to suppress your appetite. Thus, hopefully you're eating less, and then ideally you're losing weight. However, there have been studies that show that if we increase our natural GLP-1, we can also reduce our cravings and increase our satiety. And also, there have been studies that show that you can lose weight by increasing your thylakoid intake in order to just feel less hungry and have less cravings, like I mentioned. So I've been running this experiment for myself over the last week and a bit, and I encourage you to try it as well because it's very easy and there's nothing to lose, and you cannot overdose on greens. You're just adding them in at every meal. So that's what I've been doing. I've been adding them into that smoothie in the morning, and I've been adding less sweet foods to my breakfast, but I'll share that later. And at lunch, same thing. I'm either having a vegetable soup or I'm having some potato and broccoli, but I'm having them on a bed of greens. And same thing with dinner. I'm eating my same tofu veggie rice bowl, but I'm just having it on a huge bed of leafy greens. So the problem that most people are having is that they're not actually getting this GLP-1 release, because when we don't eat enough whole natural plant foods, and we're typically eating things like cakes and donuts and high processed, high fat, high sugar foods, they are getting digested high up in our digestive tract, whereas whole natural plant foods are getting digested way down low in our digestive tract, and that is where we get the effects of releasing the GLP-1. I hope I'm explaining this clearly. This is really fascinating because the foods that are getting digested high up in our digestive tract, it's no wonder that we're reaching for a second donut, or we're kind of moseying for another piece of cake or more sweets. Whereas foods that are whole and natural and full of fiber, they are getting released slower, and that's why you feel a longer sense of satiation. So as you know, most people are eating the standard American diet, and we're not eating enough high fiber foods that we are meant to eat, and that our ancestors ate so much more whole plant foods. So if we just increase the natural plant foods that we eat, we can increase our natural GLP-1, aka we can increase our satiation and reduce cravings, and just overall eat less, which will result in weight loss without going hungry, though. That is a key. You don't want to go hungry. So thylakoids act as a fat blocker. They basically attach themselves onto fat cells, and they remain in our intestine for hours. And that is why we feel satiated for so long when we eat high fiber food. And thylakoids are powerful because they are able to resist the digestive enzymes while they are in our digestive tract, as opposed to something like a donut or a cookie that's going to get digested very quickly. In the hours that they are in our digestive tract, they are attaching onto tiny droplets of fat, thus slowing our digestion of fat, which will equal more GLP-1, which is great. So it was interesting because there was a study where they added ground spinach powder to foods such as jams and juice, and compared to people who were in a placebo group who weren't eating the ground spinach powder. And those who were eating the increased amount of thylakoids because they were eating ground spinach, they experienced a 21% reduction in feelings of hunger overall and a 14% increase in satiety. So they not only felt less hungry, but they also had less cravings for sweet and salty foods. And that decreased by about a third compared to the placebo. So they were less hungry, they were more full, and they had less cravings. So you can see how that trio of basically ingredients is going to result in weight loss. And I thought this was very interesting because the people who also were eating more thylakoids, they didn't enjoy the sweet foods as much later on. So they kind of were like, no, I don't want any chocolate. And even up to 11 hours after eating the spinach, the cravings for sweets were reduced. So because those thylakoids are digesting so slowly in your digestive tract, that even up to 11 hours later. So if you eat breakfast with spinach in your smoothie, up to 11 hours later, you'll still feel the effects of that spinach early on. So as you can see, this is something so simple that you can do for yourself. And I haven't been doing this very long, of course. This is just an experiment I'm doing on myself. And if you're interested in trying it for yourself too, please do it and let me know how it goes. But I have definitely noticed a big difference in my cravings. At night, I don't really look for the fruit that I normally do. During the day, I'm not kind of having that like want for, you know, a granola bar or some dates. I actually realized yesterday I haven't even thought about dates at all, and they're in my fridge, and I just don't really want them. Actually, they sound a little bit too sweet for me right now. And the sweetest thing that I'm having really is I'm maybe having a banana once during the day, but I save that for later on after dinner. I find that if I'm eating too much fruit early in the morning, it's very sweet for me. I've been whole foods, plant-based for a while now, so those foods I would consider sweet. And I don't find that blueberries in the smoothie are really that sweet. It's more the foods like the banana, really, and adding things like dates and stuff like that. And having a little bit of raisins, it really is just a texture thing. I just love them. Kind of adding a bit of chew to the oatmeal. And I'm really enjoying having my seeds early on. I know there are also studies that Dr. Furman has talked about, and maybe I'll talk about those later on once I've researched them a little bit more before I share some misinformation. But I know there are some benefits with eating nuts and seeds alongside your greens. So I'm really enjoying having the flaxseed with my oatmeal, and then the hemp seeds and also the pumpkin seeds in my oatmeal, and then having the hemp seeds in my smoothie. And you're getting a little boost of protein as well, but also you're getting all those health benefits. And rather than eating them later on, and I would never just snack on them when I'm bored or want a handful of nuts. I wouldn't do that. I would more use them as ingredients in recipes. And yeah, I'm finding a lot of success with that. And at first, when I was attempting to try this plainer oatmeal, because if you've seen my oatmeal in the past, I usually add protein powder, cinnamon, I'm adding frozen berries, banana on top. Back in the day, I probably would have added like maple syrup and peanut butter. I haven't done that in a long time. But when you're adding all of these things to it, I've just really been simplifying it down, and it's really been helping me with my binge eating, which is the biggest thing that I'm working on overcoming, and I believe I will overcome it, but it's a lifelong journey, so I don't expect to be perfect. But I just wanted to share what I've been doing in terms of eating more greens, and just, yeah, let me know if you try that and see, you know, give yourself a few days and see if you do notice any differences, and write them down and see kind of what's been happening to you throughout the day when you've been eating foods. Have you been noticing less cravings? Have you been feeling more full? And yeah, let me know what you've been doing, and let me know if you try it. Okay, I just got back from the walk with the dog, and I'm gonna need to leave the house soon to go to the vet, so I'm just gonna make my lunch now because I know I'm gonna be out of the house for a couple of hours and I don't want to be hungry. And then I'm going on a hike after that, so I'm just going to eat a little bit sooner than when I would normally eat lunch. But for now, I'm just snacking on some grape tomatoes while I cook, and that's gonna be a new habit that I'm gonna do, is just try to increase the raw veggies I eat too. So I think a good way to do that is just kind of snack on them while you're already chopping them. And yeah, I'll show you how I make my lunch. I'm gonna be fancy today. I have a sweet potato. Normally for lunch I do the yellow Yukon Gold potatoes because those are my favorite, but I have two of these that need to be used, so I'm gonna use this. So first, tomatoes. And my trusty steamer basket that I use at least twice a day. At least. I like chopping things up into small pieces because then I know for sure that it's gonna cook. because I'm gonna cook it at the same time as the broccoli. And cutting them this small is just purely because I'm impatient. And I just want my food right away when I'm cooking it. All these recipes where you need to wait or to bake it in the oven or just cook something for the stove and it takes so long, like I just don't have the patience for that. I used to, but now when I want to eat, I just want to eat and then get on with the day, you know? So this is what I have so far. So I'm just gonna rinse this so they can get the bit of a wash and then fill this with water, and then I'm gonna microwave it for about 10 minutes. Add my greens and broccoli. Oh. So yeah, I'm just gonna enjoy this. It looks like carrot, but I promise it's sweet potato. And yeah, I'm just gonna eat this and then I will check back in later.